Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rich, the big guy from the RSN Wrestling Podcast. We
And this
are.
is yep,
What happened?
my fault. I bossed that one up. This is Sal, the mastermind.
We're here for our bi-weekly shoot edition of the RSN Wrestling Podcast. Unfortunately, as everyone knows from the past 2 months podcast about, Nick is not here due to trying to catch up. He's had family issues, work issues, all that. That's delaying him from being up to date. So Sal and I wish you good luck on trying to, you know, catch up to date with everything. Because as Sal knows, because Nick has told us how hard is it for him to do 7 days of wrestling coverage. Sal.
Yeah, that's indeed. I mean, well, one thing I can tell you, same thing with me. I mean, well, holidays and everything. So, of course, it gets more and more busier for me. I mean, personally, I can tell you, um, for us, the Pro Wrestling YouTube page, we had our Survivor Series review. We haven't posted it up yet. We're still in the process of editing it and putting it up. Again, I'm still working on. I'm a one man show. Well, I'm not one man show technically. I mean, I got Rich and Nick, of course, but like I'm the when it comes to the editing, I'm the only one doing that. And of course, school's always taking up time and shit and work and all that stuff. So
It's
be
hard
sure
to
to you're gonna
maintain
see
it.
that definitely,
It's hard
but
for all three of
be
us to
sure.
do our parts of what
Yep,
RSN is.
yep. But again, like that's not gonna stop us from posting up videos. This is gonna be a little bit of a delay, but we'll see from there. Um,
Well, before we start, I'll give you a little breakdown of what each one of us do, for you, so you fans know what we go through to try and entertain you guys. We'll start with N. We'll go backwards.
mhm.
Nick is the editor, the creator, the head person of the best wrestling site for segment by segment coverage of all the shows. It's ProWrestlingOpinion.com. So that was that a good one?
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we just what happened was I think Kevin Dunn
We had a
just
little
came in.
technical
He just
difficulty.
came. Nah, he just came into one of our things and like he just came into I guess the hangout and I guess he just plugged out a couple wires thinking we'll just botch up. So for even
Fuck,
mentioning his name, Kevin Dunn, go fuck
fuck you,
yourself.
Kevin Dunn.
Fuck you, Kevin Dunn. But nonetheless, you were saying?
Sorry fans about that.
Yep.
I was saying Nick is the head person and chief of the best segment by segment pro wrestling coverage website ever. It's ProWrestlingOpinion.com.
Indeed, it is. Yep. Yep. Well, I
Sal
mean,
is
yep.
the mastermind. He
Hmm.
is the main person who does all the technical editing and all that for you fans. He also runs half of the Facebook page. He runs the YouTube page, the Google Hangouts, all that. And you have me, the big guy. I also run half the Facebook page. I also get way deeper than any TMZ or those other assholes that charge you to view wrestling news on our Twitter page, which is at RSN Podcast.
All
Is there
right.
anything else you want to add to what we do, Sal, before we go into it?
Well, I mean, of course, we got the SoundCloud page, which we're trying to establish.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
forgot that.
yep. We got a whole bunch of other stuff too, but as time goes on, we're still going. But nonetheless, I mean, going into that,
Well,
a lot
before,
happened this week, right?
well, sorry to cut you off. I just want to add one more thing.
Hmm.
It's the end of the year, as you
Yep.
know. It's another
Yep.
year that we've done.
Right. Right.
We're going to go out of 2016 with a bang,
Indeed.
but 2017, we're basically at the door.
Yep.
We're not knocking. We're not ringing the bell. We're not
No.
tapping on the window. We're not
Uh-uh.
going to give you a call. We're kicking the fucking door down for 2017.
Indeed, we are. And I mean, you can see that we had our promo, which we have a whole bunch of teasers going around regarding what's going to happen for 2017, what we got planned. Again, folks, big stuff coming. We keep doing more and more stuff. And again, we're doing this not because we're getting paid. Like I said, we got a whole thing on YouTube where it has an AdSense account, or AdSense account, should I say, where you can put ads on videos. We don't do that. We're not getting any money from this. We're not doing this. Basically, we're doing this out of our passion.
We're not
just doing this.
charging $9.99.
We're not charging any. We're not making any monetary profit from this. We have day jobs. We're doing our stuff. We're basically doing this out of enjoyment because we want to share opinions. We want to give our commentary. Plus, we want to also entertain the fans also and try to get them into this. Try to be interactive with the wrestling community. So again, that's just our stamp on the wrestling
Sal,
world.
how much do we charge for the fans to listen to our stuff?
We don't charge jack shit. That's what we don't charge.
We
don't charge
We charge
jack
your
shit.
time. We charge your fans time to listen to it. That's all we charge. Your time.
Yep. Well, here's one thing too. I mean, just like the network, there's always things that always loop around and everything like that. But here at RSN Wrestling Podcast, we keep on changing it up. We're doing more and more different things. But specifically, when it comes to a lot of different changes that happen and a lot of different things that are going on in the wrestling world is full of them, right? It's kind of hard to catch up on all these things, right? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to catch up on all these things, right?
Yeah, it's quite hard.
It's quite hard, right? So, I mean, of course, there's so many different promotions, so many different things. And, I mean, as we probably look into the next month, actually, should I say, with our year end in review podcast, where we talk about the whole, year and everything like that, and the thousands of matches happen.
It's basically our award show.
Yep, our award show. Basically, that happened throughout the whole year. Thousands of matches happened, and the thousands of promotions. Well, not thousands, probably
Freaking
30
something pay-per-views with WWE.
Yep, and then they got a whole bunch of other promotions, basically that have happened. It's kind of hard to catch up with it, all right?
Yeah.
But I know there's one site where you can actually go over there.
Especially when there's some promotions that Optimum doesn't carry. There's some promotions that DirecTV doesn't carry. There's some promotions FiOS doesn't carry. It's hard to catch up, especially when you don't want to go on like ROH's website and watch it. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't have enough time to watch the actual show.
Yep. Or maybe you have that occasion where let's say you're late at night.
Or what about when you're at school or on your way to work or on your way to school?
Yep. Or
does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it does. It does. And
I mean, tell that story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I already talked about it probably. I personally had that experience where I was sitting down in school, and first thing I did was pop on the site, and I saw everything about Lucha Underground.
What was the name of the site? So the fans know.
Oh, it's a 3-letter site, and it's made by one guy. It's only one guy. His name is the Nick Lopez. I think it's Nick. Site's name is Pro Wrestling Opinion. PWO.
3 simple letters.
Yep, and I think it's that time now.
What time is it?
It's that time. I'm thinking what it is. Hold up. It's tagline time.
Reading is fundamental. Let's do it. Reading about wrestling puts you over.
That's it. There you go. That's the finisher. That's the signature. That's the punchline. Kisser right there. Done. Well, I mean, we talked about that. Yep. Indeed. I mean, well, here's one thing. This past week, a lot of shit has happened, right? I mean, we can probably start from, I guess, TakeOver, right? Because the last time we were doing the shoot, we were talking about TakeOver.
Yeah, it was was it post-TakeOver we did?
We kind of did, I think, one post-TakeOver. And then...
Yeah, we did like a quick little review of TakeOver and the horrible pay-per-view of Survivor Series.
Oh, my God. And, the fallout from that. So, basically, this whole thing...
So, we'll pick up from Monday.
Yeah, I guess from Monday, I guess. Well, we can talk probably about this Monday, I think, starting with this Monday. So, it starts out, of course, with, I think it was, what was it?
The usual Jericho? Kevin Owens, Jericho, Seth, and Roman, back and forth.
Yep. And then next thing you know, they just, basically have this whole kind of scuffle where it's like, okay, I'm your best friend, whatever. And then
save me, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. And then there was this whole thing where what's gonna happen. It kind of seems like they're planting the seeds
I
for.
think they're breaking up.
Yeah, it seems that way. They're kind of planning for kind of like a breakup or something like that
Yeah,
for the
but they
future.
also trolled us last week with that,
Yeah, I mean,
which
well, you never
hands
know.
down I think was the best troll ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we haven't mentioned this either, but you run the Twitter page too, right?
Yeah, I do run that great
And have you,
page.
right? And I mean, well, right now I'm hearing that there's a lot of different names that have popped up for. They're already penciled in to win the Royal Rumble. But have you heard of certain names that are going to win the Royal Rumble?
I've heard a few names actually.
Really?
I
And
didn't
what
post it on Twitter though.
name? Interesting. What names?
Well, before we go into that, would you mind if I drop a little nice little news I've heard,
What's
which
the news,
could
man?
actually could lead into a change in Royal Rumble?
What is that?
Well, there have been 4 names that have
Hmm?
been requested a trade to SmackDown, and 4 names have requested a trade to Raw. The 4 names from Raw to SmackDown
Really?
are Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Sami
Hmm.
Zayn, and Cesaro. They requested
Really?
a trade to Raw from Raw to SmackDown.
Interesting.
The four
I'm
names from SmackDown to Raw: The Miz, Dean Ambrose, and 2 talents who wanted their name to be confidential.
really. That's interesting. So it kind of seems like they're trying to change it up again, or like
Yes.
they have the draft. So I mean, here's one thing with we talked about the draft. Probably we did a podcast even about the draft, which you can check out on our YouTube page. But basically,
There's You can check it on Facebook, YouTube. I think it's on Twitter. I'm not too sure.
yeah. Well, I mean, for us, yeah, we have it all kinds of coverage on that too. I mean,
Uh,
PW also has their coverage, but
what site?
Pro Wrestling Opinion PWO.
You mean the best wrestling segment by segment coverage for every show from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the 2010s?
Indeed, and it's still growing, and you could definitely check that out there. But I mean, moving out. I
Better
mean,
than any Kevin Dunn site or Dave Meltzer.
yep, or not any kind of magazine site or anything like that. Basically, it's from this guy called D. Nick Lopez, I believe, right?
The Nick Lopez.
D. Nick Lopez. Yep, yep. I mean, he covered the draft too. We all did the draft. We all did the whole thing with the draft and everything, where we covered and all that crap. I
Yeah.
mean, with the draft, here's one of the disadvantages. We talked about the whole benefits of it. Oh my God, this is a draft. It's gonna help out, et cetera, et cetera. But also, it kind of brings up some kind of limitations.
Hurting
One is
of
one
talent.
being, yeah, you bringing up the trades, the talents, and all that stuff. Of course, after a certain talent stays there for a certain amount of time, they kind of get frustrated or it gets kind of boring. So it's like, okay, what do we do now?
And there's
Oh,
two
let's
in The
yeah,
Miz and Sami Zayn.
yeah. Or
And
they could just be like, oh, let's just go ahead and make some kind of bullshit storyline that defies everything and just does it. And like as we've seen in the past with Kane and all that. But I mean, still, with the Royal Rumble, so you haven't heard any names that are going to actually win,
I've heard a couple.
really? And what names have you thought of?
I've heard Cesaro winning finally.
Mm-hmm.
Finn Balor coming back and winning.
Finn Balor,
And also someone who hasn't won, who's been in the company for about 20 years.
really?
Jericho.
Jericho, yes, yes. So I heard the same thing. I heard the same exact thing. They said that Jericho was going to win supposedly. That there's going to be this kind of deal that involves Kevin Owens losing the title, and that's going to set that up for it.
And I
So
really
it's
hope
kind of
he
like
doesn't lose it. I'm hoping Kevin doesn't lose that roadblock.
I hope he doesn't even lose. Oh my God! So I mean, we'll probably get into that too later on. But uh, with Raw, I mean, of course they had that segment. They announced that there was going to be a match later on to determine who was going to face who at Roadblock, and then what ended up happening was Roman Reigns comes out, classic. Everybody's booing the crap out of him. Keep in mind, everybody's booing him,
What else is new?
and specifically, no, I mean, pay attention to this. Do you notice something when they were doing that segment?
What?
The camera, like whenever I look at the camera, I'm looking at this because I'm thinking, okay, Kevin Dunn is probably behind that monitor in the truck, with his freaking head buried into the monitor, and he's thinking, okay, he's dictating the how to do the camera angles and everything. And what I noticed is they only focus on just the women and the children. That's it. That's it. Just
That
shots
is
of
true.
random women and random children just going, oh my god, marking out to see Roman. And it's like,
Oh, it's
okay,
Roman
and then the rest,
Reigns.
yeah. And then you see a whole a series of the crowd booing the shit out of him. It's like how it's the same kind of thing. You're burying him down our throats. How is that gonna work, But I mean, later on they found out, we did that match and everything. But then moving on from that, they had, of course, the cruiserweights promoting 205 Live.
Which I love.
I love that. I think Rich Swann really did a really good job of putting himself out there, and Brian Kendrick did a really good job of going into his character.
Well, there's
I
a
mean, if you
couple
notice,
people that are also eligible to be cruiserweights, which a lot of people don't even realize.
really,
Yeah. There's one that no one realizes is actually a cruiserweight. Chad Gable.
Chad Gable, yeah.
He's 202 pounds. The cutoff is
Mhm.
205.
Yep, that's true. There's actually a whole bunch of people. You can probably go
Neville.
down the list. Even some of the heavyweights, the people that are competing for the world titles, are in that range too.
Kofi.
So, yeah, there's a lot of people though. I mean, you could say a whole bunch of names, I guess. Like Neville, for example. He's fast. He's like quick and everything. He actually weighs like he's a
So,
lot. Yep.
I
And it's like
actually want to. Neville doesn't actually look it though. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Because he's brolic
Yep.
now.
hmm He has a lot of muscle mass. That's one thing. So I think that contributes to him. But if we basically took all the muscle mass from him,
He's
he would
what
basically
he
be.
was before.
Yep. He'd basically be a cruiserweight right now, if anything, or a jobber, kind of like that. But but I mean, looking at that promo, Brian Kendrick actually went into it. I mean, did you see when he started cursing out Byron Saxton?
Yeah.
Like that was, I think that was it came out from the heart.
No one
So I
likes
think that
Byron.
no one likes Byron. I really am sick and tired of Byron. It's like, why is he at the table? It's kind of like Josh Matthews, basically, in TNA, but in WWE. It's the same kind of deal.
Do you know what? You know what? TNA is on the same channel as Big Brother, which has cameras.
Exactly. It's basically the same old shit with Byron. Byron is just, when you see him announcing, it's just like, okay, why? There's no reason. And I mean, if you look on the other side, SmackDown, they got David Otunga. Can this guy retire already? Like, come on, there's no reason to
He's
have this
getting
guy here.
paid. He still has a job because of his girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever the hell she is.
Yep. Sugar Mama, I don't know, whatever. You can name
And
whatever.
JBL, if you heard a couple weeks ago, JBL even said, "We have you here just because we want your wife to appear on the show."
Indeed. I mean, it's insulting too. It's like, come on, man. Like, why would you,
You only
I
love
guess
him because of your significant other.
true. I mean, that's one thing, but I think it's also because of the fact they think that. Well, I think this is the upper higher ups probably thinking this. If we have somebody was actually a wrestler at the time, they have more knowledge of what's going on, and it's more, um, people more they can believe them or whatever.
And he
I
also is
just
a Harvard graduate, so he could help, like a Harvard law graduate, so
Mhm.
he could help them with the contracts and all that.
bullshit. It's just like, come on, man. They could do a lot. Like, it's just like, these guys can actually just leave WWE, go to the Indies, do something, and they can have someone else take their place. For example, back in the day, Taz, best announcer. When
Great
you seen him,
announcer.
yeah, his reactions were real, and you actually believed it, and it was actually, he's a
Because
legit wrestler.
he was an announcer, but he was a fan at the same time.
Yeah. And I still give him props. Props off to you, Taz.
The
You're
Taz Show, great podcast.
indeed it is indeed. I mean, well, here's So I mean, we talked about 205 Live. What about Enzo and Cass against Rusev? Did you see that? I mean, I really didn't. I didn't see that segment at all. I
It
think
was hilarious.
it glazed over me. Like, really, it's like I guess I missed it last week. But like out of nowhere, what you call? I think Enzo comes out. He's cursing out. I think Rusev on the door of the locker room. Turns around. He's butt ass naked, quote unquote. And Lana's right there looking at him, looking at his junk, and he's like,
No, she wasn't,
chilling.
but she was.
Yeah, it's like, okay, but it kind of brings back to that. Are they bringing back are they taking out the PG era now? It's like, holy crap. What do you think?
I wanted to go back to what it was
Really?
like before the whole PG era.
Mhm.
I wanted to go back because that was great.
Really, I think this kind of brings back those kind of days. It brings back like a sense of that. Basically, and if you've seen Enzo's promo, he was clearly attacking Rusev's wife. Like he was going in depth with it. Like at some point, it felt like Rusev was gonna actually go off character and fuck this guy up for real.
Well,
That's to the
since you
point.
brought that up, Summer Rae actually was getting heat on Twitter, going after Lana.
Really, how?
Remember how Enzo said he's gonna certify G stuff for turkey?
Yeah.
Summer said something like, "Oh, it's not a turkey, it's roast beef."
What the fuck? Oh, she's trying to violate.
Yeah, but where's Summer anyway?
Well, here's one thing. Yeah, where's Summer? Second of all, why? Is she even a wrestler? Is she even under contract still? Like, well, I guess you know what it is.
Is she
Kevin Dunn
relevant?
wants people. Yeah, I think Kevin Dunn just wants people, just because he thinks that okay, these people just want to, they want to wrestle, but mainly they want to be movie stars and everything like that.
But she can't though. She can't wrestle.
Indeed, and I mean also one thing, does she
Nope.
have talent?
Do you know who else can wrestle?
Who else?
A certain All Red Everything.
Indeed, and we haven't seen her for a while either.
Well, speaking of people we haven't seen, Emma's coming back,
Emma's coming back too. Indeed,
which
they keep
I
coming out. Yeah.
think will actually be pretty well.
And they keep coming out with these vignettes. I mean, it's like when is it coming? When is it coming?
I think
But
they said after what's Raw's pay per view?
for next one,
TLC?
TLC, I believe. Yeah.
No, wait.
I don't know.
TLC SmackDown
Roadblock.
after Roadblock.
Yeah. That's when she will show up.
There's too many freaking pay per views.
Yeah, it's crazy now. Like and they're saying there's more for next year, and they're gonna continue that. I mean, we'll have to see from there. But what about Cesaro and Sheamus in that vignette?
Oh, that was hilarious.
Oh my god, that was like. I mean, I kind of looked at it. I was like, okay, when I looked at it,
It brought back memories for the APA.
It did, yeah, in a way. I mean, it also brought back. It was kind of like an attitude. This whole night was kind of like an attitude era feel to it. But also, another thing too was it kind of felt like it was kind of corny at times. Like it was like, okay, it feels like Kevin Dunn is behind all this, telling you, okay, this is what you're gonna do. This is how it's gonna be. They had a couple of indie guys going in there, doing their thing and just sitting there being extras for this whole thing, while Cesaro and
the black wrestler who confronted Cesaro, he's an
Yeah.
indie guy.
Yep.
The one who confronted Cesaro was an indie guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl was actually Tessa Blanchard,
Yep.
who
They look familiar.
who is Tully Blanchard's daughter, who is dating. You ready for this one?
Who?
Do you want to know who she's dating?
Who?
She is dating Ricochet.
Really? Interesting. That's crazy though. So Ricochet, really? That's kind of like holy crap. So that's kind of like, well, that's weird though.
Does that mean Ricochet could be signing?
It might be. I mean, you never know. I mean, what I'm hoping for is probably appearance at a Royal Rumble. Maybe if he comes in as a surprise entrant.
Because remember, he wasn't taking bookings after a certain time.
Yep. Probably to finish up, I think New Japan and I think PWG.
He already finished, right?
Yep. So now I finished it. Now it's like it begs the question: what's he gonna do now? Oh, I mean, it still brings up a lot of speculation. This 20th. I mean, of course they. Yeah.
I think he comes to the big time.
WrestleMania?
No, he comes to the big time. He comes to WWE.
Big time. Traded up. Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. Maybe they should just give him like the thing what they give to AJ Styles. Same kind of deal. I mean, that's
Just
one thing too. Yeah, I mean, if you look at this, look at AJ Styles. This whole year has been the year of AJ Styles. We'll talk more about this in our year in review podcast. But think about this: AJ Styles comes in, debuts at the Royal Rumble.
He comes in January.
Yeah, first match.
Feuds right away with AJ Styles.
It lasted 30
AJ
minutes.
Styles feuds, yeah, which is amazing.
It's crazy. That's unheard of. In your debut, Royal
And he
Rumble
comes
debut.
in, feuds with Jericho
Mm-hmm.
for a good 4 months,
Mm-hmm.
just about right. 4 months
Yep.
he feuded,
Yep. Yep.
and then who do you go after? Right after,
The face that runs the place.
exactly.
John Cena.
So right there, you go after two of the biggest names.
Yep. And he had some of the biggest matches with John. I think match of the
And
year
then,
candidates, nonetheless.
unfortunately, he feuds with someone else.
Yep. I mean, well, he feuds back and forth with different people, and it's like well, I mean, well, here's one thing. This is a continuing pattern. If WWE is trying to build a guy around somebody, they use the best indie talents to build them. Currently, you see that right now. As we're going to talk more about, what
Yeah,
you call
but
it, Reigns and
well,
Owens.
the person I'm talking about is a certain Samoan guy who got abused by freaking Brock Lesnar.
Reigns.
Yeah, remember AJ
Yeah,
feud with him?
yeah. I was going to talk about that. Yeah, with A. I mean, and that's the thing. If you see this pattern, they like to use people like AJ as somebody that can build other talent that they're trying to build up, like
It's hard to
Reigns.
help build Roman though.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's difficult. But I mean, we'll talk more about this probably after this. But did you see that one thing with what you call it uh with the what you call it, the WWE Studios movie that came out?
Which one?
I don't even know what the fucking name was, but like they keep on
The one with
promoting
Mark
it.
Henry?
Yeah, yeah, and they had this whole thing with where Kevin, what you call it? They were trying to promote it, and then next thing you know, I think he pushes Titus or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It's just like what the fuck, like that was, and again, like I'm saying, that's totally Kevin Dunn for sure. That's Kevin Dunn all
Oh,
the
without a
way.
doubt. That the minute I saw that, I'm like, yep, that's him.
He thinks that he's gonna get an Emmy. He's not gonna get jack shit from
You're
anybody.
getting worst person of the year, bro.
You're not getting anything. That's the thing. What he's doing is actually just shuffling money out of WWE's pocket
For
and
nothing.
wasting it for nothing. Basically, these movies, and I mean, have you ever watched a WWE movie before?
There's been a couple.
I mean, I watched some here and there, like probably 12 rounds. I was interested in that. I was like, cool,
I
cool, whatever.
watched the I watched the Marine.
Hmm.
I watched the the Marine with the Miz.
Yep.
The one with Miz and Summer Rae.
Hmm. I
I've
mean,
never
well,
seen the Chaperone. I
yeah.
refuse to.
Oh my god, I believe me, I had the displeasure of seeing that movie, and also, I mean, I've seen 12 rounds and everything like that. Some movies
12
are
rounds
good.
was good. 12
Yeah,
rounds
12
was
rounds
good.
is good. Yeah, but then
Wasn't the
when you,
second one with Orton? Or was it Ted
yeah, I mean,
DiBiase?
I actually watched all three. I watched all three of them. I think
Because I
one
know
with
it was
Cena.
Cena.
Yeah.
Because I know it was Cena, DiBiase, and
Orton.
Orton. I just forgot the order
Yeah,
of which one was which. But they were
yeah,
all
yeah.
good though.
But I mean,
That I could say they
they're
were
all
all
good
good.
movies. Yeah, it was a good concept. But I mean, like Kevin Dunn, like why, you keep on trying. Of course, it's like okay, WWE Studios is alright, is doing good. But here's one thing: your movies come out in theaters in like a month, and then after a month they go straight to DVD.
Half of them don't even go to theaters.
They don't even. Yeah, that's another thing. They don't even go to theaters, and they try to promote it, and it's like the T-shirt sales are worth more than what the WWE studio, like what WWE Studios is doing. So it's like, what's the point of that? Either way.
And if you remember the Punk promo with Triple H, what did
Hmm.
he say? How's your
Talk
movie
about.
doing?
Yep.
How's your movie doing?
Yep.
Oh, it went straight to DVD. Where's yours? Oh,
Yeah.
mine went
Yep.
straight to DVD also.
That's the thing. Exactly. It's like when people look at a WWE movie and they find out that it's WWE Studios, they kind of scoff at it and go, "Oh, this is bullshit."
Hey,
Because it's this general
here's a
notion that
question: what was the last
you know,
WWE movie to go to theaters and actually do well?
12 rounds.
Exactly. And how long ago was that?
That was like what almost. That's 2009. So that's what almost 7, 8 years.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. You guys are basically shuffling out money from WWE and where they can use that money for something else,
But
being that
remember,
they are. Yeah.
due to the copyright infringements, we're taking money away from them, according to
Oh,
that
right,
post.
right, right, right. We are going ahead and infringing on their funds or whatever, right? But nonetheless, I mean, let me ask you this, Rich. Do we have any ads on our videos?
Um, no.
No, right? I don't see any kind of bank. I don't. Do you get checks from YouTube telling you that, oh, you got X amount of money into your account?
Hold on, let me go check my mail. Nope.
I'm gonna check too. Wait, let me check. Let me check. Oh, I don't get jack shit. That's one thing. So
You
what's the
know,
point?
well, here's another question.
Mhm.
The website that Nick runs, Pro Wrestling Opinion, does
Yep.
he get any checks from WWE?
Nope.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because we do it for the fans.
Indeed, indeed. It's a passion, like we said. We're doing this.
And by the way, check out ProWrestlingOpinion.com. You get up to date segments
Gotta do
of
the cheap plugs. Cheap plugs.
of every single company that is worldwide.
Yep. Indeed, indeed. I mean, well, let's talk about something else too. So Reigns versus Owens. I kind of felt kind of suspicious about that match because if you look at the crowd, it seemed like there
Well,
were plans.
everyone knew Reigns was gonna win because that match was leaked like a month ago
Yeah.
from Roadblock, so
Right.
everyone
Right.
knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's what I can say. I think as far as Owens goes, Owens can put anyone over. I think Owens had the best performance in this match. This
Owens could Owens could probably. This is hard to say.
Mhm.
Owens could probably put Eva Marie over.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I
He
don't think.
probably could.
I think Eva Marie would botch that up too. That's the thing with the difference between Eva Marie. But I mean, like when you see Roman, Roman still has a lot of work to do, and it's like
A
he still got to
lot
do
of
a lot
work.
more, a lot of work. So it's like you're trying to build this guy, but at the same time, the fans aren't eating him up. So it's like, what are you gonna do now? I mean, what I also noticed there was a lot of plants. It seemed like there were plants in the crowd with WWE. Like there were planted people
They do that a
specific.
lot.
Yeah, it seemed like no, but this time it seemed kind of obvious because if you notice, the whole tone of the whole like crowd from the beginning of the night till that time when the match happened, it changed, it shifted. Either it could be that or maybe Reigns is doing better and better. But I kind of have a feeling that it was kind of
I
planted.
I go with your first idea.
It's kind of planted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, if you notice, the whole crowd started chanting Roman after he was like, I remember certain like specific spot where Owens was having Reigns basically just go ahead and he was holding him down, and he just kept on. He was about to go to sleep to the point where he was about to go to sleep, and people
Did
were
you hear
just
what he said though?
chanting. I heard that he was saying something, but I didn't hear it all. No.
Go back to football or whatever the hell you were
Oh,
doing
right, right,
before
yeah,
this.
right, right. But I mean, he was saying some other stuff too to him, like, okay, just sell that. But it tells you, that like Owens knows how to tap into the vein of the fan, or quote unquote us marks.
The
He knows
vanilla
how to,
internet works.
yeah. And I mean, can you agree with this? That Owens put on one hell of a performance as a heel, right?
That I could say he is improving with his skills of being a heel, but he's a
Yep,
face.
yep. He's a face, true. But I think Reigns actually is starting to, improve a little bit. I'd say a little bit. He's starting out. But they have to keep on building on this. If it comes to a point where at Roadblock he wins a title and becomes a double champion,
I want my money back.
indeed, it's like people are gonna get pissed. They're not gonna like it. They're gonna say this is piss and vinegar. Why the fuck would you just do this again? It's
I
like,
will friggin' order the 3 month subscription from friggin' Walmart.
indeed, I would
But
that
I
as
don't
well
want my bank account being charged $9.99 a month.
refuse to. Right?
I'll
Same
take
here.
the, I'll take the 30 every month and
Hmm.
have it for 3 months.
Indeed, yep. Word, same here. I mean, that's one thing too. It's like WWE
Or I'll just find a friend who has
or
a
borrow their
subscription and use theirs.
borrow their the WWE Network account. I mean, but that's one thing. WWE has to do a good thing about doing this because, of course, Royal Rumble's coming up. So the question is, how are they going to build it? What are they going to do it around? How are they going to make this even bigger? So, of course, names are going to be brought up here and there, especially around this time. Rumors come out
This
time
is
to
when
time to
the
time.
this is when the indie names and the legends and the
Mhm.
former wrestlers start dropping
This is the height.
rumors.
Yeah, this is basically
We're in
the rumor
WrestleMania
mill
season.
era. I mean, excuse me, officially. But it's like
It's the
but
unofficial WrestleMania season.
yeah.
Remember,
But still, this is where most of it starts. It starts here, and it goes up till WrestleMania, and then basically fades away as time goes on. But it's again, there's a lot of stuff. Like we said, in 2017, we're gonna be doing our Legends podcast. We'll be talking about Legends and all that stuff. Also, we're gonna be doing some other stuff too. In addition to that, also
well,
a
it's gonna be
2K.
after Royal Rumble, where there probably will be legends.
Yep. And also, we're gonna be talking. We're gonna do our comprehensive reviews like we usually do, um, on the site. So for sure, be sure to check that out also.
And we're
But
also going to do a special podcast with wrestling video games.
yep. Recently announced, we actually got some guys who have experience with video games. Basically the wrestling video games, should I say? But basically they're gonna go ahead and give their thoughts on it, and possibly we can do something from there. It'll probably be me, Rich, and Nick. In addition to these two other people that we got, who are gonna help us break down video games and all that wrestling video games, and see how they evolve over time and all that stuff. That's gonna
Even
be called.
even that horrible TNA game.
Indeed. Also, the TNA game. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but also there was a whole bunch of other gimmick games that came out, uh, like a
Oh,
racing.
Pro Fire Wrestling.
Yeah, yeah. Or how about this? I don't know if you heard about this. A racing WWE game.
Yes, I remember that.
This is like when it was, I think, in the early systems. It's like in the '90s. So stay tuned for that. You're gonna hear more about that too, and probably the next few months of the new year. Later on from
Then
there.
there was the horrible WWE All Star game, which was wrestling on steroids.
Basically, it was wrestling on steroids, Mortal Kombat, or attempt at Mortal Kombat put together.
It was horrible.
It was mess. I mean, it was crazy. But we'll go through all that mess and sift through the storm and see what's there.
This is really bothering me. I'm trying to remember the name of the racing game now.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that out too. I recently heard about it, and I'm thinking, oh my god, we gotta definitely do something about that. But nonetheless, I mean, moving on, SmackDown. So
The A
SmackDown
show.
happened. Yep. I
It's
mean,
the A show. I don't care what anyone says.
well, I mean, what particular part excited you the most?
Seeing Alexa Bliss.
Well, of course, yeah, Alexa Bliss. I mean, she's getting better and better now. That's a fact. I mean, they can only go higher and higher with her. She needs to get the title for TLC.
She has to.
She has to. I mean, it's just like, come on, you guys need to do something. Give her the title already. It's like,
She deserves it. She worked her ass off.
in all honesty, I actually want to see Becky Lynch turn heel.
And this would be perfect. You turn Alexa face.
Mhm.
Well, actually, keep her heel, but give her, even though she has the face pop.
Yeah.
Just give her the title.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. It's still it's still debatable to see what they're gonna do with this. They can go either way with this. But like, I mean, for example,
Well, just
with Nikki
well,
Bella
just
and
throwing it out there.
Carmella.
You were an Alexa fan.
I wasn't
Just
indeed. I
remember
wasn't.
that
Yeah. I
you
mean, I
were
was
an
kind of
Alexa fan.
skeptical. Yeah. Indeed, I mean, I live up to that. I wasn't at all at the beginning. I wasn't, but now when I'm seeing it, I see her improving more and more. I'm starting to get to see, okay, maybe she is the better diva. Oh, we forgot someone on Raw.
She's not a diva.
Title change happened.
They're
Yep,
not divas
title
anymore.
change happened.
I'm saying they're not divas anymore. They're women wrestlers.
Oh, right. I messed up. I botched that one pretty bad. We can't use that term because, of course, it was erected by a certain beaver bucktooth looking ass motherfucker who said that they're just eye candy. No, they're women's wrestlers. But I mean, speaking of women's wrestling, early this week, Charlotte versus Sasha in her hometown. She loses the title.
It was a great
Basically,
match.
Sasha. It was a fantastic match. I think they did a lot of good spots. I mean, this is another thing too. This
The
whole
end
year,
of the match was perfect.
yeah, I think it was perfect too. I mean, if you look like this whole year has basically been, how many main events have made it to be in just the women main eventing Raw.
Twice.
But I think I can count more times than anything. That's pretty great. But you're right, 2 times. That's kind of like where can they go from here? Maybe every other night they can have this. Maybe every once in a while, and it'll be something. But that's kind of crazy now. So these two are like the next. I mean, if you see how they're building this rivalry, it's kind of like Cena and Orton, in a way, right?
No, you can compare it to Trish and Lita, the blonde and the redhead.
Well, I mean, here's one thing. I mean, you certainly, that's always going to be there. But I mean, if you look at like, for example, Cena and Orton, you know how they kept having this thing where the title kept changing hands every
Yeah,
other week.
but this is entertaining though. Unlike Cena versus Orton, this is
That's true.
very entertaining.
It is. It is. I mean, they go into depth with the characters and everything, especially with Rick coming out doing this whole thing, and the next thing you know, it's kind of like, where's that put? Flair and Charlotte. Yeah, it's like holy shit. You know what's gonna happen now?
And Flair
You
and
can't help
his
but tune in. Yeah,
deal now.
it might be, or it might be some kind of turn. Maybe Flair shenanigans once again. But either way, I think I see this going up till like WrestleMania or Royal Rumble, and just continuing, skyrocketing. We'll have to see from there also. But I mean, speaking of SmackDown, uh, of course they had. I don't know if you've seen that spot with AJ Styles doing side clash on James Ellsworth.
Off the stairs onto the floor.
Oh my god, yeah, that was horrific. I saw that. I was like, oh my god. I thought he was gonna actually injure him like right off the steps.
If that was, then that would have been the second time that AJ saved James Ellsworth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're talking about, of course, the botched Styles clash almost, right?
But it really wasn't, though.
It wasn't. I mean, of course, they told him to tuck his chin in, but
Watching.
what chin exactly? I mean, James
Watching is
Ellsworth.
there.
Yeah, I
Watching is
mean,
there to talk him.
yeah. Well, James Ellsworth, I think he's a perfect what do you call it?
He's the jobber.
He's basically like a jobber. He's basically another Zach Gowen. He's another Colin Delaney. Basically, he's like this jobber
But the
that.
thing is, Zach is actually good, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you remember,
Yeah.
Zach feuded with Brock Lesnar.
Yep. Well, I mean, Zach was kind of buried every week though.
That is true.
But I
But he
mean,
was good, though.
yeah, it's kind of like a
But now,
wild card.
but now look at what Zach's doing.
Yep.
He's like a
Zach is
star
a
of
good
some
face.
independent wrestling company.
Yep. One-legged wrestler. He's like a big fanatic now. It's crazy.
And his partner has one functioning arm.
That's crazy. They could do all kinds of shit with that. So I mean,
Exactly.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting now. You see these guys, they start like this. WWE gives them this role, and they follow into it, and then they end up drifting away, but they come back and do something bigger. But like James Ellsworth, you never expected that in 20. Like let's say for example, put James Ellsworth in the time of the Ruthless Aggression era,
Oh, he would have
2003,
got he would got
2006.
destroyed.
He would have got mauled. Like if you see that, they would have just signed him up one week later. Done. Get out of here. You're a jobber. Done. This guy was a jobber in the beginning of the year. Oh, actually, June I'd say after the draft, and now he's
He
like
was
an
he started with Braun Strowman.
yeah, and now he's an actual like wrestler, a performer on SmackDown.
Somehow.
Yeah, it's another thing too. He's kind of like a wild
Somehow.
card basically. He's a wild card.
And because of him, Braun got eliminated at the Survivor Series match.
Yep. I mean, there's also one thing too. He got a contract last week. Now he's also quote unquote he got a shot at the world title.
He wants to face Dean, but he said he's 3-0 against AJ Styles.
I mean, could we actually? What do you think this? Do you think that he'll actually win the title?
Hell no.
I mean, never know. I'm kind of thinking that they are going to, and then they're going to pull some kind of thing where.
If he does, I am not watching SmackDown.
Well, picture this. Picture this. How about this? Let's picture this scenario. Let's say out of nowhere, James Ellsworth gets a title shot. He happens to win, gets the pin, upset victory. Next thing you know, you hear the lights go out. Who comes out? Taker. Taker goes ahead, takes him out, choke slams him straight through, tombstone power driver, 1, 2, 3, done. Gets the title. What do you think about that? Could they be going towards that direction? It's hard to say, right?
No, I'm actually thinking about that now.
Yeah, because it's like I mean,
But I could actually counter that idea with something good too to lead into Rumble.
what's that?
That happens.
Mhm.
James Ellsworth, boom, no chin music. AJ loses the title. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Lights go out. Taker shows up in the ring. If issues the challenge for Royal Rumble. AJ versus Taker.
And then at Royal Rumble, he wins?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's one thing, too. Speaking of Taker, he hasn't made his appearance since that SmackDown before the Survivor Series.
The go home
Yeah.
episode.
Yep. And now it's like, what's next for him now? Like, what's going to happen? Are they going to do something with him? Or are they
Could be
going to...
Roadblock.
I have a feeling, too. Oh, no, I'm not Roadblock. You mean TLC?
Yeah. There's too many
Yeah.
fucking pay-per-views, bro. I'm losing track.
Yeah.
There's a
Well, I
fucking
mean, here's one.
pay-per-view every 2 weeks.
Yep. I mean, well, here's one thing too. If they do go down that route, I mean, we all know probably what kind of match they want, right? Like, what match is going to be at Mania?
Title versus career.
Title versus career, yeah. And I'm thinking it's either,
But did you see the interview with AJ though?
yeah, I seen it.
If the fans want AJ versus Undertaker, let's make it happen.
He was being cocky though. I can tell you that. Like I had a coworker at my job. He's a wrestling fan too. He's actually I think one of the fitness managers. Like he's a manager at the gym that I work at, and he's been telling me. He
Nice.
showed me that interview, and I was like, holy shit! I'm looking at him like this guy sounds cocky. He was telling me he was talking about it. He's like this guy sounds cockier than a motherfucker, and I'm like it's because it's his character. He wants to be the next Ric Flair. He's trying to get to that level as a heel.
Who AJ?
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, Rick was mentoring AJ in TNA to be him.
Yep. And I think he even
He
said,
gave him the robe and
yep.
everything.
And he was actually looking up to him. I think he said. I think AJ Styles said he always looked up to Rick as a
Yeah.
mentor. So it's like what
Even Jay Lethal had a impersonation gimmick of Rick, which
he
he loved. He
loves.
said,
He loves Ric Flair. Like he idolizes him. Like to the point where it's like that's it. He's someone that I respect.
"Do you blame him though? He's
Yeah.
one of the best wrestlers ever."
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, also, I mean, of course, speaking of Jay Lethal, um, we can talk probably about ROH, right? A little bit of ROH.
About that WWE wants to invade.
Yep.
Not even
They want.
WWE, Triple H wants to invade.
Yep. Yep.
Because if you remember what who Triple H wants, he gets.
Well, I mean, let's run down a list of all the indie hopefuls that they're looking for. Roderick Strong, they already got. They can cross them off the list. Who else? They got Kenny Omega, Young Bucks,
Bucks.
Adam Cole.
I don't know if Cole will go though. That's the thing. He's the
I think it's,
question mark.
I think it's the money. The money that's bothering me. If he has the money, then of course he'll go.
Not even that. I think it's gonna hurt him.
Yeah, it
Because
might.
if
I
you
mean,
remember, what kind of person is Adam Cole with promos? He enjoys cursing and all that. You think he's gonna PG himself down? I don't think so.
well, look at Owens. Owens has always been cursing in the past all the time, but he's found a way of making it creative now. So he's
But if
more.
but if you look when he started cutting down though, when he had a kid,
Yep.
having
So,
a kid changes people.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, well, here's one thing too with of course Adam Cole. They got Jay Lethal also, who's right now bald. I personally don't like that at all. Like they just to cut his hair. It's like holy shit.
Yeah.
He looks like a what's that name? Bad News Brown from back in the day. No lie.
That's a name drop.
Yep. Well, Jay Lethal, of course, is a phenomenal talent. They have who else? Okada from New Japan. Um, who else?
Okada could come because he's friends with Hideo.
Yep.
He's friends with Finn.
Mhm.
So that is actually a pretty good chance of coming.
Well, I mean, I know Triple H is like passionate about getting these guys. He wants them
Triple
in
H loves
NXT and
Japanese.
WWE.
Triple H loves the people from Japan.
Indeed. I mean, well, here's one thing. I think what WWE is right now they're thinking about is one thing: the money. That's obviously there. They're trying to find a way of okay, how do we make sure that we spend our money correctly? Let's think about this too. I heard rumors that Conor McGregor they're trying to get him in for at
And
least an appearance
and
or
Misha
for
Tate.
WrestleMania. Yeah, I mean
And
it's
they
kind
want
of
to
like
get Misha.
yeah, and it's like and also Ronda and all that stuff so it kind of brings them to this kind of budgeting situation. So like let me ask you this: so before we probably wrap up the podcast right now, if you were running WWE financials, you were there, running it and everything like that. You had a choice between Conor McGregor doing a WrestleMania 33 appearance or signing one of those talents from that whole list, or at least a couple of those talents, probably two or three, give or take. What would you choose? What would you choose?
I'm signing the indie wrestlers
Indie
because they
wrestlers.
because they will accumulate money over the year, advance revenues and all that.
That's true.
McGregor is a one night thing.
That's true.
Like, oh,
But,
congratulations! I had to spend $50 million on you. Just say
mhm.
for one night
Yep.
for a 10-minute segment, just say.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's one thing.
Meanwhile, I could distribute that same amount of money amongst 3 or 4 talent throughout the whole year.
Yep.
And
Well, I mean, yeah.
yes, that 50 million can be distributed between 4 people, but I'm making $1 billion off 4 people. You have to look at it from a business standpoint.
Yep, that's true.
50 million divided by 4 equals
Roughly about
billions
10
of.
for each.
I was saying that equals up to $1 billion over a 12-month span.
That's true. Yeah.
So in the long run, I win signing the 4 people.
That's right. I mean, that's true. I mean, well, here's one thing too. I think why WWE is trying to go after Connor because one thing, of course, he's having a kid, so of course he's gonna have some time.
Badass.
Yeah, and he's gonna have a what you call, of course. He's gonna take time off from what I'm hearing. I heard they stripped him off the title, right?
Yes and no. I think he gave it up.
So they'll probably cut off some kind of deal.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's one thing too. With Connor, he's of course having time off, so kind of like WWE, they're kind of forced to kind of go up on him and kind of ask him about, okay, do you want to show up for a WrestleMania or like a appearance? I mean, it makes kind of sense. It's like, okay, you have a UFC star come in with all his drawing power, but also because he's free, you're not gonna get this chance again. So it's kind of like,
just remember what I said. You're gonna give this guy $50 million for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. I see that too. But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like I really want to see both happen, where they sign indie stars and they have Conor McGregor come in.
Well, they have the money to do both, so it doesn't matter.
We'll have to see. I mean, that's one thing. I think that's one of the main concerns now. We'll just have to see from there. But nonetheless, I mean, this is the Arsenal Wrestling Podcast. The Mastermind Sal.
This is the Big Guy Rich.
Follow us on all of our on our social media, Facebook, Twitter. You have the at RSN Podcast on the Twitter page, which Rich runs. Also, you check out Pro Wrestling Opinion, PWO. Best site, minute by minute coverage. It's for real. Like you see it, you actually read it, and you actually visualize everything as it's happening. Which
reading is fundamental. Reading about wrestling puts you over.
Indeed does. Also check out our YouTube page, Facebook. Give us a like, subscribe, and all that stuff. It helps us out. And again, we're having a whole bunch of content coming out for the next year. We'll be having probably the next shoot coming up too.
Isn't there going to be a little delay though?
Yeah, because we still have to catch up on the Survivor Series and of course the shoot and all that. But if anything, I'll post it up as soon as possible. And
also because you have finals coming up.
Yep.
So we're taking a week off, so it's going to be in 3 weeks now.
Well, how about this? I'll propose to you right now. What do you think? What do you think about this idea? Let's make it a 2-hour extravaganza.
I'm fine with that.
A 2 hour. So what we'll do for the next shoot that we're going to do, which will be, matter of fact,
December. I will give you a date right now.
So normally it would probably be, let's see. Normally it would probably be every 2 weeks. It would be probably the 14th. So how about this? We push it back to about, I'd say the 28th or the 21st.
21st, because remember we're doing the ending year.
That's true. Yeah. So we'll just do, I guess, the 21st. We'll do the
2-hour
make it a special. Yeah, 2-hour special for the shoot, and then maybe we could do a preview for the year in review and all that stuff. So again,
that actually sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So we'll have to see from there. But again,
do you know who?
Stay tuned.
Do you know who wouldn't come up with that idea?
Of course, I know who.
And none will never have that idea.
Indeed. I know who you're talking about. Well, actually, this is a certain a certain promoter from back in the day who likes everything in black and white. And who likes traditional wrestling, quote unquote.
I hate him.
This is the same guy that said Kevin Owens will never be a WWE champion.
But there's also another someone who said Kevin Steen would never perform in front of more than 200 people.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. Jim Cornette.
Who blocked us from Twitter.
Really? He blocked us from Twitter?
Yep. He was one of the first people to do it. Him and Vince Russo.
Really? Jim Cornette?
Jim Cornette, and Vince Russo. Now you need one more for the trifecta.
We need Kevin Dunn and Eva Marie.
Oh, I'm trying so hard for Kevin Dunn to block us.
We'll have to see from there. But Jim Cornette, I beg you to reconsider. Be sure to
That's
check
my
us out.
that's my mission before the year ends.
We'll have to see what happens. Well, that's our, if not, we'll probably try for next year. But if anything, we'll see you guys out.
See you guys.